Thank you. So lovely to have you all here on Saturday afternoon. And so lovely to have Pernia from Rampur. I mean, both of us share Rampur ancestry, and of course, I'm based in Rampur. Most of you probably just know Rampur from Bollywood, Rampuri Chaku or something. But since we are talking Rampur cuisine, let me just give a brief introduction so that while we go on talking about cuisine, Rampuri cuisine, you will have some context. So Rampur was a princely state, and after 1857, it was the only big princely state in the north of India. So when the Mughal Empire and the Awadh kingdom were overthrown by the Britishers, all the artists and musicians and writers as well as chefs came to Rampur, and they created something that is called a Rampuri cuisine. So the people of Rampur are Pathans, and so, so the Rampuri cuisine has elements of Mughal, Awadh, Kashmiri cuisine with the distinct taste of Rampur. With that, let's begin with Pernia. It's so lovely to have you here. I love your dress, absolutely. So let's talk about your journey from being a style icon and a fashion entrepreneur to being a writer.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm so glad to see enough people gather to speak about Rampur and its culinary history. I am a very proud, Rampuri, I guess. And I think the older I get, the more meaning I find behind where I'm from and how rich our shared history is in every way in Rampur. And I think this love for Rampur is really rooted in my grandmother. So this book is an extension of her. And writing this book was just, I think, my way of honoring her. I don't know if I call myself a writer per se, even though it took me 3 years to write this book. But it was always more about just her, honoring her legacy, making sure that her heirloom recipes are preserved because she's no longer with us. And I was so concerned about making sure that we don't lose these recipes because nobody in my generation cooks in my family. And so I was very worried that after my parents' generation, where they all cook, my aunts are amazing cooks, that we may not have it anymore. So this book is just an extension of my grandmother. It's an extension of my love for her. It's an extension of everything she represented, which is rooted in Rampur.
That is so amazing that, honoring grandmother's recipe. Incidentally, my grandfather and your grandfather, like I said, were practically, we belong to the same mohalla, So the family has had connection going back at least 3 generations. And we are meeting for the first time. Another little story I would like to share is that your grandmother, Musharraf Begum, called my mother-in-law and the Begum of Rampur to dinner. And this is so crazy that we are sitting here talking about her food.
I love it. That's the best part about Rampur is not considered a small town, but that's the best part about towns and villages, that everybody knows everybody. And somehow, when you meet somebody from your hometown, your grandmothers would have met, your father would know your cha-cha. It's just so lovely. That's it's a very heartwarming feeling about being from a smaller town or, not a big metro.
Yeah, so your grandmother had a very long and very productive life, and she was the strength behind Rampur Kitchen. First of all, let's talk about your memories of her and what all do you remember about her as a child, from going to Rampur. Let's talk about your memories of her.
So all my favorite memories around my grandmother, and I think it's not just me, I think it's a lot of most Indians, is around her cooking and feeding us, because I think Indian grandmothers, actually grandmothers universally, their love language is food, and I think they show their love, at least traditionally, until our generation, they showed their love by spending time in the kitchen, making like favorite dishes, being really worried about what we're eating, if we're eating enough. And I think all my favorite memories are around her cooking. Actually, she only spoke about food. She, she was obsessed with food, and I think that obsession went to my father, came to me, came to my whole family. It's like it passed down. So at breakfast, she would discuss lunch. At lunch, she would discuss dinner. And she would only either talk about eating or what she's going to cook. And, you know, she remembered exactly what we liked, what we didn't like, what suits us, what doesn't suit us. Till today, my mother doesn't know what I like. But my grandmother would remember everything about every grandchild, you know. And I think for me, those are my favorite memories because I don't think I'll ever get that kind of selfless love ever again. And so my favorite memories around her all revolve around food, all of them. And she never wasted food too. I found her so fascinating. If something was too salty, she had a jugaad, for lack of a better word, but she had a formula for everything. She said, "Isme namak zyada hai, koi baat nahi, isko phekna nahi." She would take it back, put something in a potli and wrap the potli and put it back in the dish, and that would absorb the salt, and then it would be good to go. Yeah, this woman, she didn't waste anything because she came from humble beginnings, and she was married into a family that was very comfortable. But I think when you grow up a certain way, you can't get that mindset out of your, you can't change the mindset. So she had a very no wastage mindset. And I love that about her. So she would never waste a dish. She knew how to fix every dish and every problem in the kitchen. Yeah.
I mean, like talking about food all the time really sounds like Rampur, and discussing lunch at breakfast is quite the thing, you know. In Rampur, of course, the thing is not everyone is very well off. And so, yes, no wastage. We even cook the peels of turai and loki, and they become very delicious. So my other question is also about, these small towns and these little subcultures that are being lost because the present generation does not know much about them, and the preservation of these subcultures, especially the culinary subcultures, the small towns, if you call Rampur a small town, which are being forgotten, how important it is to, set them down on paper, maybe for posterity, or put them out there so that people can know about them.
No, I think it's the most important thing. I think anything you can do to preserve history, whether it's culinary, whether it's architecture, whether it's, I'm a Kuchipudi dancer, so whether it is the dance history of my country, any history which is ancient that has been passed on from generations, it is the most important thing to preserve it. And I think, at least from a few years ago, when I became a little older, I realized that everything in my life should be about doing that. So it is of like utmost importance to me as a classical dancer, as somebody from Rampur, as whoever I am, and whatever I can do to contribute towards that. And I think preserving recipes is a really big and important way of preserving a place's like culture, or like keeping that history and heritage going, And I think as much as we would say that younger people, the fast food, I think fast food was a lot of my generation thing, like millennials. Like now we're in our 30s, late 30s, early 40s. That's a very millennial thing. I really do think that even the younger generation, people in their 20s, are really getting back to farm to table and cooking. And now there's such novelty in like slow cooking and overnight cooking. And I think that's all coming back, and I'm so happy about that, So hence people are excited about books and recipes like this, because it's all about like now getting healthy. Like the slower you cook, the more time you take to cook your meals, the healthier they will be. The more instant they are, they're probably not going to be as good for you. So I think that mindset is changing, right? I think people are so concerned about preservation themselves, of how they look and how they feel. And I think food and cooking has a lot to do with it.
I think that's very heartening. I personally see a lot of my generation, or the millennials in my family, even Gen Z, they turn to the YouTube to find a recipe and see how it's being cooked. And so do you think that a cookbook, buying a cookbook like we used to do, buying a cookbook and seeing how it is cooked, etc., and what it would look like, etc., do you still feel that it's relevant, or does it
Yeah.
need the support of, let's say, a YouTube, series on?
I think YouTube series is really not a bad idea. I think we can definitely look into it. I think why not? I think any additional support that would encourage people to use the recipes, why not? First of all, but I do think people who are serious about cooking, I think they do still use cookbooks. Honestly, I have really good friends who use my book. I have friends who own restaurants who've taken my book and who own catering businesses, and they really want to use the recipes. I'm like, this is for everybody. Please go ahead, use them, you know? So I think people who are serious about cooking still use books. But I know my dad loves to cook and he's always on YouTube. There's a lady from Lucknow called Lubna and he's obsessed with her. I mean, but she also does very traditional recipes, you know? So there are so many takers for traditional food, you know?
I think that's very heartening again. Another thing I wanted to ask, your grandmother, Musharraf Begum, she belonged to a place called Chaundasi. And so when she came to Rampur, there was already a set idea, because Rampuris are very particular about what goes into what and what should never be a part of this dish, etc. So she definitely put, I was just going through the recipes and I realized that they are a bit different from the way we usually cook in the Rampur sense. For example, we would never put tomato in palak kosht, or the chapli kebab cannot have a scrambled egg or something like that. So she definitely did a little bit of innovation and amalgamation, and possibly this went forward with the Rampur Kitchen. So how important it is for everyone to have a little take, and how does that dilute the authentic or the heritage dish?
You know, who is to say what is authentic?
Yeah.
She
That's
is
correct.
bringing her authenticity from where she comes from, which is Chaundasi, and which is another small town. And, you know, that's why I call this book Heirloom Recipes, because it is very specific to our family. So we're not really claiming this is exact Rampuri cuisine. It is Rampuri cuisine, but it is our take on it. It is our family recipes. And I mean, obviously, you don't know my grandmother, but she was a personality and a half. And so obviously those genes have come down to me. And she is the kind of person who would make everything her own. She was a big personality. I don't think, even though Rampur was a very, big town for her from where she came from, and may have been intimidating in the beginning, but she found her way, and she found her way through food. And she put her own signature into everything she did and all the dishes she made. And she decided and created dishes from what already existed, to make it personalized to her taste, to the taste of her family. And she was such a hit in the kitchen, and everybody loved her food so much. So I think she was encouraged to also do that, to do her own thing. And I think, you preserve history, but you also create history in real time, right? So she was preserving as well as creating.
I think she was quite a tough old person.
Yeah.
I mean, standing up to the Rampuri, conservative, this thing, and saying, yeah, this is my take, and I'm sure you will love it, and that was her space.
Yes.
And that's so wonderful that she was able to put this behind Rampur Kitchen. Can you speak something about this venture of Rampur Kitchen and how it came about with her recipes?
So Rampur Kitchen was a restaurant, I think, I was in school, so I can't remember, but I think it was late 90s, early 2000s that my father had opened in Khan Market. And a lot of the dishes that we served in the restaurant are actually in the book. And when I would come back from holiday, because I was in boarding school, it used to be where Good Earth is right now in Khan Market. I don't know if everybody's familiar with Delhi. The line used to be around the block. I have never in my life, till today, seen a line in Khan Market for any restaurant. The Rampur Kitchen line used to be around the block. You could not enter the door. The restaurant was small. It was only the bottom area, so it had like maybe 7, 8 tables. I don't know. It was a small restaurant. People would line up to take takeaway also. So our food at home was always such a big hit. Maybe that's why they got the idea that let's open a restaurant. Everybody loves the food anyway. We were constantly sending food to friends. We still do all day long anyway. So I think that's where the idea came from. And I think it was, and when it shut, people were so upset. But running a restaurant is a full-time job, you know? So if you are a businessman or you do something else and you think you can do a restaurant on the side and do it justice, you can't. You have to be there yourself fully. So my grandmother and my cook from Rampur, they came initially to train the chefs, to set the standards, to, you know, run the restaurant the first month or two, and they kind of got everything going, and then they went back to Rampur. But yeah, it was very cute. And now we have when my grandmother, before she passed away, 5-6 years before she passed away, she was 90-something, we started a home delivery service for her, where people could place orders and she would make the food and send it to them. So the restaurant shut, but we started this home delivery service, and she loved it because my sister would take the orders and she would like fulfill the orders. But she needed 24 hours because she wanted to be involved in buying of the groceries. She wanted to be involved in every stage. So she really enjoyed that. She became an entrepreneur at the age of like in her 90s. It was the first time she earned her own money. Yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I think you wrote about her doing it during COVID and how she would...
She passed away by COVID, sadly, but we started it before COVID. But this home food service really took off in COVID because everybody was home. Yeah.
Okay. So do you still have that?
We still have it. We have a Ammi's Kitchen phone where you can WhatsApp and they'll send you the menu and you can order whatever you want. This is in Delhi, of course, where we're based. And we send the food and it's made in the kitchen, in our home kitchen. It's still a very home kitchen-like service.
Oh.
We kept it going. She passed away, but it was doing well. So we just kept it going.
Oh, how wonderful is that?
Yeah.
Now, you have 100+ recipes in this book.
Yes.
So how difficult it was, since I'm sure most of these recipes you didn't know yourself. Probably they were taught to her cooks and the cooks taught to the others or people in the family. So how difficult it was to get it all together and put it, try it maybe and put it on.
So the compilation of recipes was very difficult. Honestly, I didn't realize what I took on. I had no idea it would take me 3 years to finish this book. You know, like I don't cook personally, and I have so much respect for people who cook. Because grandmothers make it look very easy. They open this thing of masalas of ye dal diya, wo dal diya. They just like instinctively just make things and they make it look so easy. And then when you have to write a book about it, you realize it's a science. And you know, my publisher was so particular, as they should be. They're like, you know, like which tablespoon, how many like ounces, and almost like how many grains of what goes into what. Like, it was so technical and it was like a science, and it was so much back and forth. And I had to compile recipes from my father, my chef whose father used to work for my grandmother, then my aunts, and it was very tedious. Honestly, I think I've done this once for the love of my grandmother, but I don't think I could do a recipe book again. It was very tedious. Yeah.
And did you try out, which is your favorite one?
Everything. I mean, see, the recipes in this is food we eat every day till today. So I eat this is my home food. I eat this every day. I have so many favorites, but I'll name one, which is keeme ki khichdi. I don't know if keeme ki khichdi is a very Rampur specific thing, or I have not seen keeme ki khichdi anywhere else.
No, we have keeme ki tehri, but...
So keeme ki khichdi is actually from Chaundasi.
Probably, yeah.
It's actually not even Rampuri. So keeme ki khichdi was a full dish that she got from Chaundasi to Rampur. So that's like one of my favorites because it's like a comfort in a bowl. It's really nice to eat a meal. You know how like abroad, they'll give you everything in one bowl or on one plate. In India, we're not used to this. We have like many things, or we have a thali system, but it's always many things. Keeme ki khichdi is just one bowl. It's one dish in one bowl. That's all you need. You need according to Ammi, you need a dollop of makhan, dollop of thanda dahi, and you need green chutney, and you mix it, and it's just like it's like comfort in a bowl, you know, and it's amazing. And it's the most authentically hers because it's come from her hometown, you know.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
It is. And in the winter especially, it's great.
Oh, and there's one more winter dish that is urad dal khichdi of Rampur, which you call Bina Happa.
I don't know why I call it this. Maybe because as a baby, I couldn't say urad dal, you know. It was very difficult to say. But
so I was surprised with the name, but that's...
I don't know how I came up with this name, but it's basically urad dal ki khichdi, and it's actually... She used to make it was for when you're not feeling too good, because you have it with lots of dahi and lots of ghee, and again, it's so comforting. but it's so yummy. I can eat it every day. Like it's just heavenly.
But it's like a winter dish.
It's a winter dish, I guess, but it's like as much ghee as much rice. Yeah, it's maybe that's why it's so good. You can't, if you're going to eat Rampuri cuisine, you cannot be shy of like ghee and shy of all those things. Like, leave all those issues behind and just enjoy your food and enjoy your life. Yeah.
And do you also have it with gobi gosht and
So Ammi used to like to have this khichdi with gobi gosht. She used to combine gobi gosht with the khichdi. I mean, it's probably like 1 million calories, but delicious. Yeah.
Now, when you talk about authenticity and recipes having a life of their own, isn't it important that we should say, okay, do you believe that we should say, okay, this is Rampuri and this is Mughal and this is Awadhi, and like now even in North India we have the same dishes. Okay, this is Awadhi korma and this is Mughlai. What do you think about that kind of a dissection of recipes?
I think it's okay. You know, honestly, because you have to give context. Like, why is one korma tasting different from another korma? Because it's from a different place. And there is a slightly different variation of how it's made, right? And I think it's okay. I think it's okay to give context to food. I think especially people who are trying something for the first time or they're trying to get to know a culture via the food, it's okay to give it context, I think. Like, for example, biryani, right? There are like a million kinds of biryani. How do you know what biryani you're eating? There's a Calcutta biryani. There's obviously a Lucknowi biryani. There's a biryani from Hyderabad. It's nice to know that from Hyderabad they eat it with mirchi ka salan because you get to know a little more about the place. Okay, that Hyderabadis do it like this, you know? I think it's okay to give context to a dish, you know?
Yeah, but okay, biryani versus pulao, what is your favorite?
That's very hard, but I guess I'll say, no, it's very hard. I can't choose. Like, I'm a big foodie. I can't choose. I get chalo. Depends on my mood.
Okay.
But I really like a Delhi ki biryani. I don't know if this is my own house thing, but they make an achari biryani at my house.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so good because you'll randomly get that one little bite of the achar and you're like, oh my God, that was so good. Excellent.
And pulao is a little bit lighter.
I love pulao also. Pulao is easier to mix things with. Biryani is like a dish in itself, right? You just need dahi and chutney maybe. Pulao mein you can have a salan with it. You can mix, I mean, for me personally, you can mix it with other dishes and eat it. That's what I feel.
Like you said, one dish meal, and most of the people are, they are very busy throughout the week. So it does make sense to have a one dish meal.
Yes.
And do you feel that those heritage cuisines or the old cuisines of our growing up years are just too elaborate to fit into the modern world? Or do you think we can kind of fit it in and...
Elaborate cuisines?
I mean, in the sense that when we have food, there are always 2-3 things.
Right.
Even with khichdi, there would be gobi gosht, for
Right.
instance, or with pulao, there would be a korma, or
Yeah.
there has to be dahi pulki, or something like that. So, it kind of becomes tedious. Do you feel that we should just go back to one-dish meals and...
I don't think traditionally Indians had one-dish meals. I think those are very rare. Like, there's some dishes that you can eat on their own, but Indians, I think traditionally always had... if you even go to thalis or you go to places that are like even smaller towns than Rampur and all, Indians had a very balanced meal. There was like a little bit of your fiber, there was some carb, there was some, like dahi. There was always, I think Indians had 2-3 things because it would create a balance. I'm assuming, I'm not like a nutritionist, but I think Indians always ate in a way that felt balanced, and maybe that's why we had 2-3 dishes in every meal. And I think you should do whatever suits your lifestyle, to be very honest. I don't cook, but I have a whole culture in my house where they do it for me and they give me these dishes every meal. But if I lived alone, I have lived alone in America, and was I making several dishes? No. I was like, let's just order one thing, eat it, and leave the house, I think to be practical, you should eat to suit your lifestyle, and if you can do those 3-4 different dishes and have a balanced meal, then why not? If your ecosystem allows it. But if not, then what to do? You have to be practical also in life.
Right, we do have an ecosystem of people cooking for us.
Yeah.
But otherwise, what is your daily, intake of food or your meals? Like, do you have all three meals, an elaborate meals or a light meal, or what is the general
Eating is the
trend?
favorite part of my day.
Okay.
Just exactly like my grandmother's daughter. I eat one meal, I think about the other meal. I plan my trips around meals. I meet friends and I say, what are we going to eat today? What are we going to do today? If I have a bad meal, I'm in a bad mood the whole day. Because I'm like, I don't mind the calories, but don't give me bad food. So yes, I eat all my meals. And I have low blood pressure, so I'm not allowed to skip breakfast. So I'm very happy to eat all my meals. I primarily eat Indian food. I primarily eat food from where I belong. My cooks in my house are from Rampur. They are very big snobs. They are nawabs in their own right. If I tell them, ye pasta bana do, humse nahi hota, aap dekh lein, so it's that's the vibe. So I said, chalo koi baat nahi, jo banana hai bana lo. So I eat Indian meals, I eat all my meals. I think you should eat locally where you're from and you'll always be able to digest your food. People always ask me, how do you digest such heavy food? And I think it's because I've always eaten this. I've grown up eating this. I eat these many kebabs and, so I'm able to digest it. So I think if you eat what you've always eaten and traditionally from where you're from, I think you'll always be healthy because your system knows how to digest it.
Yes, the correct thing is eat locally. And so, when my children actually ask for bhindi in winters and I tell them, bhindi sardiyon mein nahi hoti, and they're like, kya? Bazaar mein to hai, So this sensitivity towards the seasons and food is something that we got from our ancestors.
100%.
Which we have lost actually. So when you talk about the khansamas, I'm sure they're going to say that, why are you doing this? I mean, lauki aap thand mein kha rahi hain, aapko zukam ho jayega, or something like that. Isn't
Exactly,
that
and we don't. We only eat what's seasonal. हमारी ये conversation ही नहीं होती because हम seasonal खाना ही खाते हैं. You can tell, you eat a sabzi, I may not know what's in season when and all, but I take one bite and I know that this doesn't taste like it's in season. And you can taste something in season and you can tell that it's so fresh. It tastes like it's just, you can tell. I'm not a cook, but my taste buds are extremely strong. Yeah.
So that's very interesting because even though I research recipes also, but I'm not a cook. But I think through our growing years, our taste buds have been trained and we immediately know. Do you feel that sometimes, masale mein kuch kam hai? I don't know what, but kuch kam hai.
I can tell you kya kam hai also most of the time. It's very funny. I don't cook, but I'll say कि इसमें आपने काली मिर्च ज़्यादा डाल दी, इसमें आपने, and my father gets very annoyed because he's like, you don't even, how do you know and all? I'm like, I know. आप पूछ लें इनसे, and I know. I can tell immediately. I think when you've been eating the same thing for so long, you become like an expert in terms of eating and tasting at least. That's why I'm so particular about even even chicken and mutton when it's cooked. Not everybody knows how to prepare it properly. Not everyone knows how to clean it properly. There's a smell. My nose, I had a baby 3 years ago, and in my pregnancy, my sense of smell was very heightened. It has not gone. I can smell anything from far away. So even if a meat has even the slightest smell and it's not been cleaned or prepared the way it should be, I can smell it from far and I can't eat it, So I think my taste buds, my sense of smell has become very, very strong.
I think all our grandmothers were into washing the chicken so many times, and fish though. I mean, it shouldn't smell like fish because it was cleaned and washed and cleaned again.
So this is slow cooking. This is what slow cooking is. It's like take your time, clean everything or do the process. Don't cheat the process. Because when you cheat the process, it's going to show up in the dish at the end. And why is my home food or why is certain people's home food so much better than others? Because they are taking the time. They're taking the time to make it properly. They're not trying to hurry it up.
Do you believe in pressure cookers?
I don't know because I don't cook, but I can't answer that. Yeah, I don't know.
But it is generally used in our homes,
to
right?
make it quick, yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't it taste much better when it's cooked over hours and hours and people are toiling around it?
I don't really see a pressure cooker in my house. I'm sure we have one.
Okay.
But I don't really see it often, or I don't know when the last time I saw a pressure cooker. So I'm assuming that they probably just cook everything very slowly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. I'm all for people, working around food for a long, long time,
We live around food. Our whole life revolves around food. Our whole winter is like बाहर बैठ के खाएंगे. अभी दिल्ली में pollution बहुत बुरी है, लेकिन I miss the days जब बाहर बैठ के आराम से 2-3 घंटे का lunch होगा. Actually, आप अगर नवाबी state से हैं, तो सब लोग नवाबी culture में फंस जाते हैं. So we like our long meals and,
Yeah.
we don't want to be in a hurry.
Any memories of Rampur that you really cherish?
I have so many beautiful memories of Rampur. वहाँ पे एक मेला होता था, and you used to get halwa puri.
Oh, yes. We still have it.
Yeah, Abhi, I have not had that halwa puri in very long. But I used to, as a kid, come back from Woodstock school and from boarding, and I used to look forward, excuse me, I would look forward to the halwa puri in Rampur. There's another dish called tar gosht. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yes. Oh.
It's basically slow cooked mutton in some masala and so much ghee that when you dip your roti, there should be a tar of ghee from the bowl to the roti, And tar gosht is like a really fond memory I have of it because Rampur में आपके बच्चे का birthday है, वलीमा है, किसी की death है, हर function में tar gosht serve होता है. It's like a staple, So I have fond memories of tar gosht from Rampur.
How can we have a conversation of Rampur without tar gosht there?
Yeah.
And the roti is about a foot
Yeah.
big, and people are serving you little bits of it. Do you remember
That's
that?
key also.
Yes.
When I see that big roti in Bukhara, I think कि क्या कर रहे हैं? आते आते ठंडी हो जाएगी इतनी बड़ी रोटी. Should always serve छोटे छोटे करके. अगर आप बड़ा भी बनाएं तो छोटे छोटे करके serve करें गरम गरम.
That's another experience.
Eating is also an art.
Yes.
Cooking is an art, eating is an art. You have to know how to cook, but you have to know how to enjoy the food correctly and eat it correctly.
You are a true Rampuri.
I
You
am
have
a
to
true
sit down
Rampuri at
and
heart.
eat
Yeah,
and
yeah,
be
yeah.
served in a garam garam roti.
Exactly. So when you come to our house, people who diet or are diet conscious feel very stressed coming to my house. Because my father and I are standing in front of them being like, नहीं, ये नहीं लिया आपने, उसके साथ वो नहीं खाया, and they feel so stressed.
Yes, I do understand that, but yeah, you can't, if you're eating, जब खा रहे हो तो अच्छे से खाओ, otherwise just skip it, might as well.
I agree. That's what I say. I agree.
So your family carries on the traditions of the food traditions that have come down through.
My family carries on food traditions so far as to जो अम्मी का एक वो होता था stand चांदी का, और उसके ऊपर there's like a jug kind of thing जिसमें पानी है. There's a bowl with a jali on it. तो जब हम बाहर खाते हैं लॉन में, तो हम बाहर ही हाथ धोते हैं. अम्मी के उस चांदी के स्टैंड पे हम अपने हाथ धोते हैं. उस जाली वाले पानी में कोई आपको वो देता है, हाथ धुलवाता है. That's what it's called. Or I mean, we are like really traditionalists when it comes to food. We like to follow everything, the whole process, including washing hands.
That's so amazing and
Yeah.
so wonderful. And I feel that the younger generation is losing some part of that history which they need to come back to. And you coming back with this history of food is really amazing.
See, it's the culture in your house, right? So my daughter is 3, my niece is 2. अब ये दोनों छोटे बच्चे ये देख रहे हैं कि they feel like this is normal. So my daughter Sophia is washing her hands on that thing, eating her roti. She's had a kebab since she was like 1. So for her, this is normal, right? So it's how you raise your kids. Like if you raise them with all these traditions, they're going to think this is normal and carry it on like it's like a normal part of life, right?
Since you're also a mother and you talk about teaching, I find the young people, the younger children, they demand just pizzas and pasta, etc., etc. I mean, like that has become their comfort food, and the parents say, oh, they don't eat anything. So what do you feel about that?
मुझे तो opposite problem है. मेरी बेटी को सिर्फ कबाब चाहिए, रोटी चाहिए. अगर मैं कहीं I take her to a birthday party and I say, Sophia, just eat कुछ नहीं यहाँ पे, eat the pizza, she will not touch it.
Oh, wonderful.
She wants her kebab. तो मुझे तो ये problem है, अगर मैं सोफिया को बाहर लेके जाऊँ, I take her abroad, where am I going to go looking for kebab and all, I need her to eat a pizza, just, it's easy, khila do, but she has the opposite problem. She wants her Rampuri khana. She's a full Rampur baby.
Oh, that's so refreshing. So
Yeah.
do my kids, Roti or salan hona chahiye or pulao hona
And she started eating spice. She's 3 now.
Oh, lovely.
Slowly, little bit, she started eating from my plate. I would make a separate plate for her with little less spice, but she has started from my plate also. ठीक है.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. And now let's just open the session
Sure,
to
please.
the audience for some questions. Yes, the gentleman with the cap, please.
Hi, thank you so much for such a delicious session. A quick question about your views on what is generally called cultural appropriation, where people from different cultures try to make food from another culture. And I wanted your views. Some people say that that's good, that someone who is in another country or another state is propagating Rampuri cuisine or Awadhi cuisine. But some people say these people or their chefs have never been to Rampur. What are they talking about? How can they talk about keema from Rampur or biryani from Awadh without ever having been there or having any family connection? So where's your view? Do people in luxury hotels around the world make Hyderabad ka Halim and Lucknow ki biryani? Do you think it's okay, or is that crossing a line?
I mean, I don't think I'm a gatekeeper of, recipes from my region, but I do understand your point. But I think, I honestly think anything which is spreading culture in a positive way is good. And I don't think everybody can be as authentic as you may like, but I think they have good intentions. They are trying to promote your culture. They're spreading your culture. They may not do it perfectly, which is also okay. But I think spreading culture, this is our soft power, spreading positivity and culture in a soft way. And I think it's beautiful. I think why not? And I think if it's not perfect, it's okay. Hum bhi to ghar pe, sometimes I'm like, let's try and make some Korean, barbecue. Hum theek se kar rahe nahi na, lekin hamare dimag mein to Korean hai, we're enjoying it. To koi baat nahi. I think it's okay. It's nice to spread culture in a beautiful way. And I think perfection is something you'll never find anyway. It doesn't matter. एक ही मोहल्ले में वो कहेंगे वो दो घर पे तो उनको तो पता नहीं कोरमा बनाना क्या है एक ही मोहल्ले में कहेंगे तो what different city तो कोई और ही बात है जी अच्छा there's just one gentleman there 1 second जी
Hi, this has been my favorite session so far.
Oh, sweet.
I wanted to ask you, as you can see, I'm a food lover, but you said you come across hundreds of recipes. So I wanted to ask, what's your rejection criteria? Like this recipe doesn't go in the book and this goes in the book. How do you reject recipes?
For the book, we chose the recipes we eat and cook the most. जो हम सबसे ज़्यादा खाते हैं, बनाते हैं. Obviously, वो favorite ही हैं हमारी. The ones we make the most are our favorites. And the ones that are demanded the most by people visiting my house. Also in the Rampur Kitchen, when we had the restaurant, the most popular recipes. For example, there's a chicken kali mirch, which is not, I love it, but it's not my favorite. But it was so popular in Rampur Kitchen when we had the restaurant. It was always a sold out dish. I said, it's a crowd favorite, let's put it in. So whatever we cook the most, make the most, whatever people love the most, we chose those.
Is the gentleman in the first
yes,
row?
sir.
My name's Noel,
Ji.
and your session's been a mouth-watering one. Now, one very small little question for you.
Ji.
Do you eat to live or live to eat?
I live to eat.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I think...
Well, then 3 cheers for you.
3 cheers for me, 3 cheers for everybody. And you know the thing is,
Yeah.
I don't have any friends who don't love food. I have never dated a boy who doesn't like food.
Same here. I've never dated a girl who doesn't love food.
Exactly. I think loving food is a commonality that is
Yes.
very important for me to connect with people.
And if you
I think the
don't-
best kind of people love food.
And if you don't love food, well, then you don't love life.
You're so boring, है ना? क्या करना है?
खाने
सिर्फ अपना
नहीं,
खाना वे
पीना
करके
नहीं,
सिर्फ
yes.
इतना खाना. How boring.
Khao, piyo,
Ash
ऐश karo.
I agree.
Wonderful. Thank
Yes,
you. It's
thank
been a
you.
lovely session. Thank you.
Thank you.
The gentleman in the first row here?
Ji. I think those 2 ladies also after. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for this session. Very difficult to attend this during lunch hour with tar, gosht and everything. But I have a question, Pernia, for you. So, all of us have these recipes. Like, for example, my wife comes from Purani Delhi, and when I asked her, so you're a Khatri, what does it mean? She said, Hamari apni dal hoti hai. That's the definition of her demographic. So my point is, but not everybody would have, let's say, the talent, the resources, the time to pen it down and, bring about a beautiful book as you have.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts around how somebody could preserve these? Because everybody has these recipes from where they come from. Any thoughts around what, other than this, they could do to preserve it?
I think having a personal journal. Honestly, I think people who truly love to cook, they maintain personal journals also. Like one of my best friends is in Bombay and she cooks so well and she preserves a personal journal. Just notes down things she loves and how she likes to make it or something in her family, like they do a very good jungli mutton. So she's just notes it down herself and then eventually you need to digitize it. So you put it in your notes because journals can get lost and just maintain a personal roster. It doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to be formally published. But maintain a personal roster online or somewhere where you can just have somewhere to go back to it, you know, and eventually if someone wants to do something about it, then they can, you know. That's what I would suggest, yeah. And YouTube is great to, you know, I'm pretty sure no matter where you're from, if I look up Khatri dal on YouTube, I think something will come up. You know, YouTube is very resourceful. Yeah, I think the lady's there, yeah. The lady's there. Yeah, in the front.
Sorry. Hi, Pernia.
Hi.
This question is actually about your entrepreneurial journey.
Ji.
I'm also a fashion entrepreneur.
Ji.
And with you having started your label with your own name on it,
Ji.
how can you inspire us to be not over-attached to our businesses and learn to exit at the right time?
You know, honestly, this is a lesson I learned from my father when I founded my first business and I wanted to sell it. And I'm actually founding another business this year, which also has my name attached to it. But he said, when it comes to business, you cannot be emotional at all. I'm extremely emotional when it comes to my family and friends, which are just very few people. Other than that, I have learned the art of detachment. Business is business. And initially, when you start something, you put all your blood, sweat, and tears, and it's wonderful. And it comes to a certain place where you've done the most you could for it, and you're going to get the best deal out of it. So I think you have to be very detached when it comes to business, you know, and you can be emotional when it comes to your loved ones, because that's where your emotions are needed and they belong, right? So I think compartmentalizing is a skill I learned maybe like in my late 20s, like later in life. I wasn't born with it. And it's something I learned from my dad because he's very detached. And I think that's a smart way to be. So maybe I'm too emotional. I'm an emotional fool when it comes to the people I love, you know? But I do not carry it on to other spheres of my life. Yeah, thank you. Yes, the lady there, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was such a relatable session. And I've been to Rampur 15 years back with my father. And I was pleasantly surprised. You know, I had food over there, Haveli. It was a business visit. But I'm a full-time traveler. But unfortunately, I've never been able to attend a Rampuri food festival. So my request and question to both of you is that how can we promote this beautiful cuisine? You know, it's a very lesser known cuisine. We generally hear about the Awadhi or you know the Rajasthani or the Punjabi, but it's one of my very favorite cuisines, and I was fortunate enough to experience that in Rampur.
Tarana, you want to take that first? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much for your appreciation. And yes, Rampur cuisine is a very less known cuisine. Huge chunks of it has been forgotten, which I'm trying to revive with the Khansamas. We did 2 food festivals as a part of this revival. And I plan to do many more, hopefully, because, and most, revive the dishes again, and we are doing something like a cookbook, like Pernia is doing a cookbook, and we are doing a cookbook of the forgotten recipes, and my writings are about it also. So writing and also definitely the food festivals are the way to go, I feel. I'm trying very hard, and so is Pernia.
आप दिल्ली आएंगी तो order करिए ना Ammi's Kitchen से. You live in Delhi, perfect. तो आपको तो हम रोज खाना भेज सकते हैं. I could actually. Why not? If there's a good food festival here, I'll send my sister and my cooks. अच्छा. अच्छा, ठीक है. ठीक है, हम आएंगे, ज़रूर आएंगे. ठीक है. Okay, we'll be there.
Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful session, and we are really completely out of time. Thank you, Pernia.
It was my pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
audience. And thank you, JLF, for
Thank
this
you.
session
Thank
on
you.
Rampur
Thank you.
cuisine.
Thank you. Thank you.